Now, apparently KTN released a CCTV footage that shows the late MP Ongondo of Kasipul being tailed by unknown gunmen, and speculations are the bodyguards to the late Kasipul Member of Parliament Ongondo were greatly involved in the whole murder of the MP. But the question is, do you think there was actually foul play and the bodyguards are just a scapegoat? Because according to the CCTV footage where Ongondo was shot at the roundabout, the CCTV footages were not working, meaning there is no evidence, no trail back to the assailants. But who is the main suspect? Definitely the bodyguards, who had a big play according to the CCTV footage released. The time they announced the late Ongondo was deceased, the bodyguard and the driver cried in vain. One emotional video that caught my attention. At one extent, I was like, now they're feeling so sorry because the job is going to be no more. The boss is deceased. But what is the CCTV footage actually showing us? That they are partly involved. Remember when the car of Ongondo stopped? The bodyguard went out to withdraw the money and the assailant had just stepped out of the motorbike and was standing right there making a phone call. So they are tracing this phone call to that very bodyguard who stepped out of the car to go pick money and back into the car. Remember, Ongondo was driving a vehicle of one of the children. He didn't step out in his own vehicle, meaning he was suspecting foul play somewhere and his life had been in danger all along. But can the investigation really point us to the real culprits? Total betrayal, shutting down one of ODM's Member of Parliament, the Kasipul Member of Parliament. That the question is, why was he assassinated in the first place? Did he expose the government? Was he against the broad-based riddles? We all know how this government works. Oppose the government, face an assassination. We have seen so many, from Jirongo to the latest plane crash that killed the MP Ngeno. All government plans just to assassinate someone against the government, with a push for a by-elections to replace with someone who will be in line with the government. Now, the late Ongondo had spent his day in the parliament only for his life to be shattered at around 7 p.m. by unknown assailants on a motorbike who disappeared in the thin air after shooting rounds of bullets. Sometimes it's not really good to trust the people you spend the day with, because at the end of the day, they are the ones who give you up. Had Ongondo trusted a relative, probably none of this would have happened. But anyway, anything can happen. Anything is possible, because money destroyed a lot of things. Someone is simply tipped off with some money and he betrays you in the broad daylight. Remember, also Jesus was betrayed with just pieces of coins by Judas. So if it's in the Bible, why not real life moral lessons? Trust no one with your life, because the people who betray you are always a stone throw away from you and know you inside out. Now, at 6:30 exactly, the Kasipul Member of Parliament arrived at the Bunga Towers, Nairobi, for his normal errands at the Parliament. At this point of time, this MP was already being threatened by unknown people. So he made changes to his normal routine, told the driver to change the vehicles. Now, at 6:48 a.m., he left the Bunga Towers, headed home and changed vehicles, switches vehicles to his son's Toyota Crown. 8:37, the Toyota said Crown KDM 783A gets parked at the Parliament. This very same vehicle that the late Member of Parliament was found shot dead with multiple bullets. Who do you think would have leaked the intel and the details of the change and switch of the vehicles? Definitely 3 people were in the vehicle: the bodyguard, the driver, and the MP Ongondo. KTN will later reveal shocking details of the bodyguard being the main suspect of this murder case. But what exactly was the time the Member of Parliament was being trailed? Now, at exactly 3:18 p.m., a man named Isakura Elias Kush stepped out of a car carrying a sling bag. Brown boots, and speculations were inside the bag was the murder weapon that would later finish MP Ongondo. Later, another vehicle appears, KZ645Z, borrowed by suspect William Emolias, as nearby a motorcycle appears. This very same motorcycle will be the exit plan after assassinating MP Ongondo. Now at 3:30, the MP's vehicle parks near Family Bank, all along being trailed without his consent. The question is, did the driver and the bodyguard know that they were being trailed? If they did know that they were being trailed, why didn't they say any single thing to the MP? Now the vehicle parks for 8 good minutes, still under the watch of the assailants, who are critically studying the whole scenario and how the execution mission will go down. I think this is the time the identification check was going on. Is it really the MP in the car? And all those kind of details. There are so many questions into this investigation. Now this man, the assailant with the sling bag, walked straight to Ongondo's vehicle for almost 2 minutes, studying it critically, then steps away. Probably he was doing the confirmation check that yes, we have him. He is the exact target. Now at exactly 6:17, the MP's vehicle leaves the parking area. Was this a carefully coordinated operation? Because CCTV footage shows a lady and a man talking to the securities, then enter the vehicle with a brown envelope. What could have been in the brown envelope? Is it the instructions or the details exactly on the execution? Now at exactly 7:07, the bodyguard Alan Ogola from Cooperative Bank crosses the road, stands near a tree under the Equity Bank, and a vehicle pulls over, KZ645Z. Now CCTV actually captures them talking, engaging for some minutes, then they split. Everyone goes his own way. What do you think was actually the details in their conversation? Now at 7:22, the MP Ongondo prepares to leave Parliament building. Ogola handing him his phone plus documents, opens the door and the MP enters the car, leaving for home. But who knew? The MP would never see another day, carefully planned by the bodyguard. Now, immediately the motorcycle positions itself together with the suspicious vehicle, trailing none other than MP Ongondo, headed towards City Hall, Ngong Road, where you least expect any heinous activity. Now at 7:30 p.m, near the city mortuary, roundabout, motorcycle well positioned besides Ongondo's vehicle, a professional killer executes the late MP Ongondo, still in his sling bag, brown boots, not touching the driver and the bodyguard, but just one target, the late MP Ongondo, back into the motorcycle and disappears in the thin air. Now, was he only acting? Bodyguard Alan Ogola saw him so emotional, crying in vain, even collapsing besides Ongondo's vehicle after the shoot. Was this shock, or was it a guilt feeling that he had executed the master, a well-planned betrayal which would lead to the late MP Ongondo's death? What an actor. Because if he was to be given an award, then he would definitely win it all, because he staged quite an emotional scene, screaming, chanting emotionally before everybody, cameras all watching, after a heinous activity had gone down. Systematical trends of emotions. Yet KTN CCTV footage reveals that he is the very same man who had handed his master Ongondo to the assailants on a silver platter, because he had met the murderers earlier before the entire scene went down. Everyone is asking if the bodyguard is actually hired to protect the master and had a fully loaded firearm for that case. Why didn't they act Why didn't they shoot? No defense whatsoever. The assailant walked straight to Ongondo, charged at him, and fired bullets in their watch. So tell me, why is it wrong to actually suspect these bodyguards? No sign of defending, not even firing one bullet. Now, investigations actually show that 5 suspects are under custody facing murder charges of the late Ongondo, a police commander being involved, and most of all, top government officials. But who could this man be that wanted Ongondo dead? And the question is, why was the bodyguard actually involved? What was he offered in exchange for the life of the late MP Ongondo? Well, the questions are many. The theories are also many. But the person who wanted Ongondo dead is still yet to be told. Culprits are in hand. 5 main suspects, including a police commander, his bodyguard and driver. But can we be told the man who is actually behind Ongondo's death? Was it a political murder? Well, stay tuned to Royal News for more news bulletins on Royal, channel where you get all your trending bulletins. JD Ishmaels.